I want to talk about businesses as well because they need to prepare. Joining us this morning is Jan Young, the Vice President of Commercial Risk Services with QBE North America. Mr. Young, good morning.
Good morning, Owen, and thank you for the great introduction.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. We often always talk about, the residential side of life, but businesses are obviously a huge part of this city. And what do businesses need to think about in terms of preparing for hurricane season?
Well, you just did a fantastic piece, you and your meteorologist, on what's coming and why we need to prepare. But I'll add that in addition to all the things you're talking about, you've got other things to be concerned about, such as the inflation and the supply chain issues and the worker shortages. With the hurricane, you've got, no pun intended, a perfect storm. So businesses really need to prepare now. The other part is the employee safety. Today is a different way of doing business than it was several years ago before COVID. We've got remote workers. We've got people that are near the business, and they are key employees that they have to come in and work on certain things for disaster preparedness, for hurricanes and storms. And we have to be concerned about them because there's a work-life balance. They're worried about their family, their kids, their pets. All of these things need to be addressed by the business so that they can properly protect their employees both on-site and at their homes working remote.
Yeah, and as a worker, it's nice to have that support, obviously, from your business or whoever you're working for. Tell us a little bit about some of the steps maybe that business owners can take to protect maybe property or other assets before a storm.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the important things that they should have is a disaster recovery plan. You mentioned that earlier, and you're going to have your special on later. That's the key thing. That needs to be done now, not when there's a hurricane approaching, because everyone is trying to do the same thing at that point, and it causes problems. So key steps that they should be looking at is make sure your employees are trained in your plan. Make sure they know to turn off key utilities. If you got, a tree hits a power line and it goes out, where do you turn your power off? Use some generators, know how to use that. Make sure your fire protection systems are left on to protect your building. Get your key documents and everything, as you mentioned earlier, and do it off-site, or put it into the cloud so you could have this, because you don't know what kind of damage from flooding and windstorm that you could get to your place of business or your employees' homes where they're working remote.
What about insurance? I mean, obviously, if anyone running a commercial operation is going to have some kind of insurance of some, whatever it is. But I mean, are we talking flood policies for businesses? Is there something that a business should do with their insurance agent or the company before the season begins?
Yeah, absolutely. The hurricanes or any kind of disaster is, an impetus for people to go find out what their policies are actually covering. Two big parts. What is the coverage, and also the amount, and what's being the amount that you're covering. If you're underinsured for your building, say you have a $2 million building, but you've got $1 million in coverage, you're self-insuring for that $1 million, and you may not be aware of it. You need to talk to your agent, make sure that you have the proper coverage. Some things are covered, some aren't. You got to make sure that you got windstorm. Most of it's covered under your property policy, but go through this with them. And people avoid this. It's, like doing your taxes or going to get a root canal. You don't want to do it, but do it now while the wind isn't blowing.
Right. We've talked about this too. I mean, there are certain limitations, right, on when policies will go into force, right? If they're in other words, you can't get a policy tomorrow if there's a storm out in the Gulf today.
That's true. You got to understand it from the insurance carrier. You wouldn't want to put up your money on something that's imminent, that's going to cause a problem. The whole idea of insurance is spreading the risk so that everyone participates and everyone is protected. Last minute coming in to try and jump on the wagon when you know there's a storm coming is not a good business.
Right. Jan Young with QBE North America. Before you go, where can folks find out more information about what you guys do?
Well, that's a great question, Owen. This is something that a lot of people don't realize. In addition to your insurance policy, it's more than just a piece of paper and a contract. There's a lot of people like myself and my team that are there to support our policyholders. All those disaster plans, all the other things that we're talking about and preparing, most people don't have that information. Your station is doing a great job sharing that, but sometimes you just need someone to go over things with you. We have our people, they're professionals, would be happy to work with you. Just call up for QBE, just go to QBE North America if you're an insured customer. Even if you're not, there's some great information on there. If you are an insured customer with whatever insurance carrier, most of them will have people that are professional safety and fire protection people that will help you to set up your plan and protect your employees and your business so that you could carry on and do your business effectively.
That's great. We know so many business owners wear a ton of hats, and you don't want to miss
right.
something as important as insurance along the way. So thank you, Jan, for your time. Really appreciate it, sir, and good luck to you and your family this hurricane season.
My pleasure, and glad speaking with you, Owen.